Hello there. Into Creative are delighted to be joined today by the acclaimed singer-songwriter, musician, author and podcaster Hugh Cornwell, who's just about to go on tour in November tonight with his first gig taking place in Norwich this evening. Hi Hugh, how you doing, sir?
Hello, Brian. Yeah. Everything's good. Yeah, we had a final run through yesterday. It's everything's in the right place, so fingers crossed it's going to be fine. When you get the first one done, you feel a lot more relieved, the first show.
Absolutely. And are you on your way to Norwich today? Is that the plan?
Yes, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. Well, I hope it goes well for you.
Thank you.
And the upcoming tour is going to see you play the Nosferatu album in full, which you released in '79, I think, with Robert Williams. Just a wee bit about the recording of the album at the time, and I suppose why have you chosen now to come back and revisit it live?
Um, yeah, it was done very, very quickly, hastily. I mean,
Hmm.
because I suddenly realized I had a period of time that was going to be free without any commitments, Stranglers commitments.
Okay.
So I immediately rang Robert in LA, who I was in touch with, and I'd met a few months earlier, and we'd had a few drinks together, and after a Beefheart gig, and that he'd done, and we sort of in a drunken state. I suggested that we make an album together, and he said, "Yeah, great." So I said, "All right, well, I'll keep you posted." And then suddenly, a few weeks later, there I was with this bit of time free. So I immediately rang him and got him to book studios. And of course, it was very late in the day to get studio time. So
Yeah.
we were. He did very well, and he managed to get a few days here, a few days there. And a lot of the sessions were night sessions because there were people recording during the day. I remember went into Fleetwood Mac studio and they were in there during the day, but they finished at like 6, 7 in the evening. So we
Okay.
we managed to get in after that and we worked all night. And so it was very haphazard and as a result very creative because I had just all I had was some sketches of all the songs which we were then finished off when I got together with Robert, and he had his drum ideas, and we sparked off each other, and um, and that's how it came about. But I never thought back then, it never entered my mind that I would be playing this live, because it was really a studio project.
Yeah.
Just I mean, to play it exactly as it is on the record, I'd need a 50-piece orchestra because there are so many extra bits and pieces on it, drum overdubs, percussion instruments that he wanted to put on. So, I can't do that, but I can approximate it, and that's what's taken the time is to make sure that we can do passable arrangements of these songs. That resemble the originals, and they're pretty good. I'm quite happy with the way it's been going.
And have you played any of the album live before?
Yes, bits and pieces. And the thing that's always come out when I've played them live is that a lot of people afterwards always ask what the Nosferatu, what's that weird one that you played? Where's that? I've never heard that before. God, that's great. I like
Right.
that. I like that kind of stuff. So over a period of time, you hear enough of people saying this, and you think, well, maybe it's time to do the whole thing, which is why we're doing it now, and why now? Well, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be able to tour health wise or whatever. I mean, I've got no problems at the moment.
Yeah.
Touch wood. Where's something wood I can touch? There you go. But you don't know how long that's going to, health is a very fragile thing, as I've realized, with friends passing, sadly. Suddenly out of the blue, someone gets sick and they pass away and they're
Yeah.
gone,
Yeah.
So I really don't know how long I can still be with everybody. So I thought, well, why don't we might as well do it now while it's fresh in the as in the ideas department. Why not do it now? And so I'm glad that it's happening now.
Yeah, and as the guy who was sort of putting it together with Robert, how does it feel revisiting it again? What is that, 46 years later?
Well, it's been very complicated. I mean, it's to learn, some of the things I've never attempted to learn before, but
Yeah,
the rhythmic itch was quite a tough beast to learn, and also puppets, because it's a very strange, which is the last track on the album. It's very
yeah.
strange time signature, and everything's going off in different directions, and but we've managed to put it together. So yeah, here goes.
Here goes, exactly. And who is somebody going to do the little Ian Jury talky bit?
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah, Pat, my bass player, has got the Ian Drury Duncan Poundcake fairground bark a bit. He's got that down perfectly, so
Perfect.
he'll be taking hold of that. Yeah.
Excellent. No pressure. And you're playing, I think, across your dates. You're playing a couple in Scotland, and I think the Glasgow date on the 20th is in St Luke's. And that's an old converted church, Hugh, and it's got great acoustics in it. I just wondered, have you played there before?
No, I don't think I have, and so but from what I see and online and what I hear, it's quite a gothic situation, so setting, so it should fit this it should fit this album well.
I think I'll fit it perfectly. The stage is right. The backdrop to the stage is the stained glass windows from the
Yeah,
church.
perfect,
Yeah,
perfect.
and obviously you'll have some mood lighting and all that kind of stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, and how much of the show will be the album, and then what do you wrap round that album? Is there other kind of
Ah,
greatest hits?
well, yeah, it's I mean it's less than 40 minutes long, the album,
Right.
so we'll do that, and then we're gonna go off for a few minutes and collect our thoughts, but not for too long, and for a few minutes, and I'm gonna blast through the PA a track from my next studio album, which I've already started working on, and a couple of them are quite far down the line, and they sound good enough to air in public.
Good. Excellent.
So we're going to play that over the PA, and then come on after that. It's only 3 minutes long, nice short song, and then we're going to come back on and do a mix of Stranglers and my solo tracks.
Okay, sounds magic. And I think the tour's called "Come and Get Some." Is that right?
Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's a
What's the
lift.
story there?
Well, that's a lift from the Duncan Poundcake Fairground Barking.
Ah, right.
Come
Okay.
and get some. So I lifted that,
Yeah.
and it's quite an assortment of stuff, Nosferatu, and then you sort of gothic prog
Yeah.
stuff, and then my late next album, a bit from that, and then the Stranglers stuff and my solo stuff, and then there's actually another one of mine, which I'm going to play right at the end after it all finishes. There's another new one that I'm going
Okay.
to put blast through the PA. So it's a lot of different things available on the night, and something for all the family, basically.
It sounds magic, mate.
It's family entertainment.
Family entertainment.
Yeah.
What else could you ask for? And I think I don't know, I think you must have did about maybe 10 albums with the Stranglers, kind of studio albums.
Yeah, I did 10 studio
Right.
albums, that's
And
correct.
you must have done at least that again, I guess, on
Yes, yeah,
solo
I
and
think this new one is my 12th, 11th or 12th. So yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, like everyone as you get older, I guess, things that influence you change. So kind of what has been influencing your writing more recently?
Just as usual, I just write about stuff that happens to me, and my experiences and my thoughts, and on a few different levels in the same song if I can, and it just carries on. That's the way I've always written, and that's the easiest and most natural way to do it. You should always write about things you know about, and the things you really know a lot about are what happens to yourself and what you see around you. And
Yeah.
that's the main influence, really.
And if I can take you back to when you were writing Nosferatu, because it's a very it's kind of quite an eclectic sound across the album. And I guess like late 78, early 79, post-punk and stuff was probably just starting to kind of find its legs,
Yeah,
and maybe even some of the electro stuff that was coming through at the time. But
yeah.
were you aware of that, or were you just out there maybe doing
Um,
your thing, or
Well, I mean, there's a bit of Moog synthesizer on the
yeah,
album, that Robert played a bit, I played a bit, and Ian Underwood played a bit. and synthesizers were just being used at that. You're starting to be used. So you know, it was they were available, so we thought, well, let's use them like everybody else. You know,
Yeah,
it's a new tool, and let's see if it works.
yeah,
Um, so we weren't really aware of anything new, any new trend, but you if you use whatever's around, you use, you know, and some things work and some things don't.
yeah. I would imagine the other way as well, Hugh, that some of the other bands that were coming through at the time probably heard the album and were influenced by, I can
Oh, well,
hear,
that's very nice of you to say that. Let's
oh,
hope so.
totally, I can hear, you hear bits of Joy Division in there for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Is that right?
yeah, totally. Bits of The Cure, bits of Newman. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on there, and I'm sure, like all artists, as you say, you reach out and see what else is going on, and I'm sure some of that come back
Ah,
into their writing.
well, that's interesting. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hadn't thought of it like that.
no, it's really good. Okay, so here's one for you. So I think Louis Armstrong once said that musicians never retire; they just stop when there's no more music in them. What do you
Yeah,
think about that?
or they stop when they can't do it anymore, you know, for physical reasons, you
Yeah,
know. I mean that's a big you know, that's a big restraint on people's careers, I'm sure.
yeah.
Um
And
yeah,
do you,
if you could still stand up, you'd still do it, wouldn't you?
and if you talked about maybe not, doing too many more tours, but do you see yourself potentially sort of keeping writing and recording, even if you stop touring?
Even if I stopped touring.
Yeah.
Uh well, I guess the only reason I'd stopped touring was for the physical exhaustion, and I guess you could make an album without that physical exhaustion of the traveling. So if that was the case, yeah, I could possibly see that. Yeah,
Okay, good. Well, fingers crossed. And could I just ask you about a song that you released a while back called Lasagna?
Lasagna. Oh,
Yeah, because
very.
that's about a woman that you got to know, isn't it?
That's sorry. Say that again.
It's about a couple that you got to know in Mexico. Is that right?
Yes, I've had
Yeah.
some very sad news regarding that. The grande dame of the lasagna, the cooker of the lasagna, my friend's wife, she had a very sudden illness this summer back in Italy, and has passed away. So
Oh,
there will be no more lasagna, unfortunately. It was a fantastic. It was the best I'd ever had anywhere in the world. I mean, they were from Bologna anyway, so it was
yeah.
an you know an authentic recipe, probably passed down through the family line, you know, for generations. But sadly, they don't have any children, so they didn't have any children,
Oh,
so it won't be passed on unless my friend Stefano, the widower, unless he starts cooking it. But I'm not sure if that's going to happen. So yeah, it's very sad news.
that's very sad,
End
mate.
of a chapter, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, at least the song's there,
Yeah,
you
exactly. And
know?
she was a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
She looked a lot like Monica Vitti, who was a famous Italian film star in the 60s.
Okay.
And so I used to call her, my nickname for her was Monica. Her real name is Fortunata, but I used to call her Monica. And she's referred to as Monica in the song.
In the song, right.
Yeah.
Okay, okay, nice song. I'm sad to hear that. Sorry to hear that, mate. And you've got your tour going on just now across November. So looking ahead to 2026, what's coming pipeline for you? Because I know you've done books,
Uh,
you've got music, you've got your film podcast, Mr. Demille FM.
yeah. I finished a new novel, so that may or may not be published next year. I'm just deciding what to do with it. That's a western, a thriller set in the Wild West,
Okay.
time of the railway coming in through across America, and then we got some festivals in Europe which we are going to be going to, and playing some more shows across Europe, Eastern Europe, and of course Mr. DeMille marches on
Yeah.
with regular shows every month, and I think I might be doing a big acoustic tour next year. We're just trying to put it together. I haven't done an acoustic tour for a long time in the UK, so
Okay.
I'm thinking of putting that in. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean I've got tired of playing electric. It's just I haven't done one for a long time.
Yeah,
And it's very easy to execute because it's just me and my engineer and an acoustic guitar, you know. So there's no there's very the logistics are very, very simple. So I feel like doing that again.
yeah,
And that'll probably take I don't think the new album and then I'll continue recording the new album. And I don't think it will be ready to come out 26, but it'll be probably be coming out in 27 sometime.
well, busy, busy.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah. Well, you've talked about recording. I know you've worked with some great producers over the years.
Yes.
Martin Rushing, Laurie Latham, Tony Visconti.
Liam Watson, Laurie
Yeah,
Latham,
Steve
Steve
Albino.
Albini.
Yeah. Yeah, just so what do you subconsciously or consciously take things from those guys when you're working with them?
Oh, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You learn everybody you work with, you learn because you watch what they do and that's interesting how they're doing that. That's good. I might remember that. You know, you're sort of mentally taking notes when you work with them and so I've assembled all this I've really had a course in record production really by
Yeah.
working with all these people and I've been very grateful for the things I've learned from them.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me about the time you had a meeting set up with Lou Reed that didn't happen.
Say that again.
I think you had a meeting, a get together with Lou Reed that you were hoping to do.
Oh, Lou Reed.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Sorry,
couldn't
mate.
get it. Sorry, yeah. Lou Reed, yes,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, we had a mutual friend, the guitar tech, that but worked both for Lou and for me. At the same time, he was doing
Okay.
tour for me and then a tour for Lou, and uh, and he said one day the tech said, "Have you ever met him?" And I said, "Who, Lou?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "No, I've never." He said, "Would you like to?" I said, "Yeah, it'd be great if you could arrange it." So he said, "All right, I'll see what if he's into it." So he asked him, and he said, "Yeah, that'd be great." So I was in New York, and he was rehearsing, and I was due to go down to where he was rehearsing at the end of the day,
Yep.
and our mutual friend was going to introduce us, and that was that. But the day before it happened, both Lou and I simultaneously in different parts of New York caught the most terrible flu, the same strain, obviously, because it knocked us both for six.
Yep.
And we were both, he cancelled his rehearsals and the shows he was going to do. I went straight to bed. I wasn't on tour there. I was just doing a visit. And I went straight to bed for 48 hours. And and then while we were both, in our beds sick, there was a whiteout in New York, one of the biggest whiteouts they've ever had. It's about 10 years ago before COVID, and there's a huge whiteout, and the whole of New York came to a standstill. Most of the airports were closed, and it was just before Christmas, and I managed to get on the last flight. So I was still ill, but
Yep.
I managed to get on the last flight out of Newark Airport to London for Christmas. Otherwise, I'd have been stuck there. And that was that. So I wrote a song about it called Mr. Leather, which is
Yeah.
on the Monster
Monster.
album.
Yeah. Oh, that's a
Yeah, it's
shame.
very sad. And I know, and then he got sick soon
Yeah.
after
Not
that
long.
and
Yeah.
passed away. So that was the end of that. So, but I thought I'd write a song about him anyway.
Yeah. And it's back to that mortality thing that you mentioned earlier, isn't it?
Yeah,
You make the most of it when you can.
yeah,
Yeah. All
absolutely.
right. And you talk, I know you're back out doing the tour now, so you must have played hundreds of gigs. And I guess you've been to gigs as a fan, you've watched a whole bunch of bands and artists over the years. So just any that one that stands out for you, going to
What,
actually
over
watch.
the
Yeah,
years?
somebody you went to see and thought, bloody hell, that's good.
Well, I mean, I was most impressionable when I was younger,
Yeah.
and one of the first gigs I went to was Bowie playing the Ziggy Stardust tour. That ages me, and the sound was incredible. I had great seats, totally by accident, and and it was great. And I didn't, and funnily enough, because I was living in Sweden at the time and I was back visiting in the UK for a few weeks, and in Sweden it was the back of beyond, and we had no internet or anything, and I didn't know who David Bowie was. So a friend took me down, and I had no knowledge of him at all. And then I was hit by that, and I was blown away, and
Yeah,
I can't think of another thing that's been so had such a because out of complete ignorance suddenly there I was exposed to it, and that's a very unique situation. That sort of thing will never happen again,
yeah,
probably, and that so it's always remained in my in my mind.
yeah. I'm not surprised. Yeah, were you ever tempted to get the outfits on when you were touring?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Were you ever tempted to create your own kind of Ziggy persona?
No.
No.
No, but it was just the music. It wasn't really the visuals. It was the music that came across. The great little compositions. And
Yeah,
great pop songs, but great pop songs.
yeah, magic. Absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant. Okay, mate, that's been lovely. Really appreciate your
fabulous.
time, Hugh. Thanks for taking the time to speak to Into Creative today, and good luck with the tour.
Thank you very much, Brian, and
You take,
I look forward to the tour.
yeah, you take care, mate. All the best.
Thank you.
See you
Cheers,
now.
man.
Bye.
Bye.